Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Spectro chat. I'm Chris, and we got, these guys.
I'm Mitch.
Yeah.
Yo, we're these guys.
Yep.
So in our last episode of the Spectro chat, not Spectrocast, we were discussing, kind of problems, social barriers between the blind and sighted community. Today, we're picking up on that conversation that we had to cut off, and we're going to be talking about the straightforward, if you will, the physical kind of relations between blind and sighted people. So why don't you go ahead, Mitch, and
Okay. First, I'd like to start, I guess, with an example of an interaction that I had. I used to work on the McMurray College campus in Jacksonville, Illinois, and I would walk to work every day. And on my way to work, I was going to open up the college cafeteria where I go into work, and someone had stopped and turned, because I opened the door for them, and they turned around and said, "Oh my gosh, how could you see me? How do you know I was there?" I'm like, I heard you walking out, so I just stopped and backed up and held the door for you. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a... I can't believe you did that all by yourself."
Yeah.
And I had said, well, just doing what anyone else would do. How is that being, that's what I'd said. And then when they had left, I was just like, I'm trying to open their eyes to, that's something what anyone should do. I mean, just being a gentleman holding the door open for you. Like, that's nothing, nothing new.
It's called having good manners.
Majority. Yeah, it's just being good-mannered. But it's I would say in this situation, if with my statement, I hope they would have seen that and taken it like the way I had wanted them to take it. I mean,
I don't think so.
Only God knows, but
yeah, I mean that's a good intro into this, Mitch. And it's like, that reminds me, and we could talk constant stories. It happens all over the place, left and right. But it's not just that. It's sometimes it's kind of like how Christian said it in the last episode. It's sometimes they'll treat you like you're a hero for moving out of their way when they're walking, or they will treat you like even though you are highly intelligent, they will treat you like you are mentally disabled to the extreme. And
for whatever reason, there's no... Oh, sorry to cut you up. There's no middle ground. And I think that lack of middle is what bothers me the most, because I don't know why people think that they can... Well, as another example is, I was walking in the Martin Luther King Jr. parade with some people at a blind training center I went to. And I had gotten separated, and we had all said, "Hey, if we get separated, we're going to meet up at 65th and, what was it? 65th in California or something like that." And which was just a couple of blocks from where the parade ended. And this guy comes out of nowhere, and mind you, it is packed. There's people just blocking the street, walking, marching, waving their flag, whatever. And he grabs me out of nowhere and starts dragging me, and I'm like, "Hey, stop it." And,
whoa, hey.
Yeah. I mean, I broke the hold and grabbed his wrist. I was like, what's going on? He's like, you got separated from your friends. I was like, yeah, that happens. Thanks, but I don't need help.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just it's interesting because since I'm blind, that kind of what's it called? Those actions are considered okay, but if it was happened to anybody else, in a lot of ways it'd be considered assault because you were lawfully trying to hold someone.
Yes.
And I don't understand why there is that distinction. And
for those sighted people who happen to watch this, don't do that. Like, for those who already know, good, but don't do that. Like, stop it. That's not good.
No.
It doesn't make us
not.
look good, and it certainly doesn't make you look good.
But no, here's the thing, though. I have another story.
Well,
someone
you hold
posted...
on.
Sorry.
You've already given your story. It's time for the
I have
next
lots
one.
of stories.
Yeah, well, stop it. We only get 20 minutes. I mean, the problem is the straight lack of communication and the straight, I'm gonna help that blind guy. And just the grabbing out of nowhere is, how do you think that blind person is gonna react when suddenly someone just grabs them by the arm? You think you're being nice by doing that? You think you're being a good person by doing that? You're not. It's obtrusive, and it can startle that person extremely. How do you know that person doesn't know martial arts and defensive combat and will just straight jack you right in the chin once you grab them by the arm?
Or, I know some people that actually have concealed carry licenses.
Yes, exactly. You could get yourself hurt in a massive way. Mitch and I are from, the city. And so,
Yeah.
I will say for the city of Chicago, it's more, people don't necessarily do that, but they will, and now that's not saying everybody, but the city is pretty used to blind people by this time. There's a lot of them around, and, so they'll come up and be like, do you need help? Do you want, do you need to hold my arm, or, stuff like that. So they'll actually ask. That's not to say there's not still people who will do that, though. And it's like, and we're just talking about coming up and holding the arm. There's so many more things that happen that, aren't good. And let's just, put aside, coming up and just grabbing us. There's another thing that's a serious error, and this really needs to get, met, and this needs to get solved between blind and sighted people. Because, for me, my story here is, what it is, them treating you normally until you say, I'm visually impaired or I'm blind. And then all of a sudden, that normality goes away, and suddenly the tone of talking slow, really enunciating their words, and acting like you're mentally disabled. And nothing could ever grind on me more than when that happens. And for me, this happened it was about 2 years ago. I went to go to the store. I have a friend who, is sighted, and he's cool. He knows exactly how to do things with me, and, I don't ever ask him for help unless I'm asking him to, read something for me. And, we were at the checkout line, and normally I don't tell people I'm visually impaired just because of this reason. And, I asked the lady, I was like, hey, we were in the tobacco aisle. Each store has a specific checkout aisle that has like a large area of cigars and cigarettes and stuff behind him. So I was like, I'd like a pack of cigars. If you could get me that 5-pack. I explained exactly how it looked. And she was like, oh, well, you could go back there and grab it. I was like, no, I can't. I'm visually impaired. So if you could go ahead and do that, that'd be cool. And when I told her that, then it was all of a sudden just, oh, well, I was like, ma'am, I'm not stupid. I'm just blind. So if you could talk to me normally, that'd be great. And, then she was like, oh, okay, alright. It was like, it's like, wow, really?
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna pull that business?
I know. I have a bad habit of saying something like, "Hey, can you say that again a little slower? I didn't catch that. I'm blind."
Oh my god.
What faces do you get from, like, what kind of reaction do you get when you say that?
Oh my god.
Sometimes they'll actually say it again, but then usually it's like they'll get halfway through seeing it, and then you can actually see the dots connect in their head, and this look of shock and horror on their face. I mean, it's
my god.
I mean, I'm laughing about it because it's funny, but but in all seriousness, it is a problem. And
It does demonstrate the issue that either one, they're not paying attention to what you're saying, two, they have no sense of humor, or three, they don't actually understand what being blind means.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the thought that we are mentally retarded because we're blind. What I don't understand is, and this is just with the sighted community, is why is it that just because we have some vision issues, does your brain click and naturally think, oh, I need to talk slowly and enunciate and do all of these things now because they're blind and they can't see, so I must talk to them like they are mentally damaged?
I think part of the problem is the media. Because the media you have...
Okay. What about the media, Chris? What about the media says
in
that
all
we're
the movies
mentally
or TV
disabled?
shows that I've seen that has a blind person in it, they're either, have cognitive issues as well, or they do these unbelievable, unrealistic feats.
Okay, well, I don't know what you watched, but I've never seen anything like that that's had blind people in it, so...
Well, no, they're not played by blind people.
No,
That's
I'm just saying
something-
I've never seen that before in any movie or show that I've watched.
Book of
with
Eli,
with-
for example.
Book of Eli was
as
cool. The
It
guy
was
memorized the Bible. That's not impossible. I know many people who have memorized the Bible. Some of them
Okay.
are blind.
But I don't think that's the part he's referring to. He's referring to the fact that the guy took out like a machete and killed like 7 dudes.
Well, that's a movie. And that's one movie, so how about some others? I need you to back up your statement if you're gonna make claims like that.
There was an episode in a TV show called, I believe it's called Touch, where there
I'm
was
not
a
familiar
character.
with that show, so.
It had
I know that show.
Keith Sutherland.
You know what? Let me just stop you. We are seriously grinding away from the
But
topic at
my
hand.
point is, in the media, we're portrayed as one extreme or the other. There's not a real neutral character. There's only been 2 instances in the media that I've seen where there is a normal blind person.
A
doing
normal
everyday
blind,
things.
like average Joe.
Yeah. One of them was called Growing Up Fisher, which was about this kid who was talking about growing up with a blind dad, based off of a true story. And there was another one called, what was it? Covert Affairs, where one of the main characters was blind and he was the IT guy.
Of course,
For lack of a better, stereotypes.
Is that a problem with the blind IT guys we need to talk about, Chris?
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Well, you guys have all had your turn. I'd like
I
to
was
have
gonna
my
s-
turn.
Yeah,
Shut
I
up,
was
Mitch.
gonna say.
Let Jacob talk. Well, stop talking and let him talk.
One thing that I do is I joke about my own blindness, right? And
Yeah,
my
of
whole
course.
family gets it. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. People joke about themselves, and blindness happens to be part of me, so I joke about it. And my whole family gets it, and they joke along with me. They'll even make jokes at me. And I
Oh
laugh.
yeah, of course.
It's like when you meet someone you haven't met before, and they realize you're blind, and you make a joke, they don't know whether to laugh or not.
Yeah, they cringe. They're like, oh.
And it's like,
Anyways.
I said it. It's okay. Like, I don't know. It's like this weird, like
Stigma.
humor switch gets turned off, and you're like, I still like to laugh. Like, you're kind of making me feel awkward because you're not laughing now. Kind of, and like, I get they're not doing it on purpose, but I feel like part of the problem is that we're not interacting enough. Like, probably just because there's more sighted people than blind people, so we can't interact with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's also no one's talking about it. Like what we're doing now, we're just talking about these issues, and we're probably not going to get as many people as I'd like to listening to this.
Right.
But in just every level of government, it's not a priority. But I don't know. There's all these talks about women's rights and, you know, trying to make reparations for what we did to these people, and, you know, people in wheelchairs need help because they can't get into this building. And it's like no one ever stops to consider, what do blind people need?
It's
Like,
definitely, we're definitely one of the least considered, types of people. We're not a race, obviously. You know, it's just
groups.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the parts of the issue about why people don't know how to interact. It's like no one ever thinks about it.
Yeah.
We're never part of the problem because we're so, like, separated, sort of. You know, it's like we can have just here's a blind white guy, here's a blind black guy, blind Mexican, blind guy in a wheelchair. Like, it's like we're everywhere. We're part of everything, so we're also somewhat separated.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just look at a guy and tell he's blind right away. Like, we're not the guys in the movies with the cane, glasses, and a dog. Like, we don't all walk around like that.
Some of us are.
Some do, but it's like I don't know if this was a stereotype, but I've seen several movies where, like, there was, like, the old black guy with a cane and glasses on the corner of the street for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, in several movies, it's like why is he there? Like, he didn't serve a purpose to the plot. Like, did you guys think it'd be funny? And I think what Christian was saying earlier, the misrepresentation of blind individuals in media is part of the problem. Because people don't see it as a problem. We're either a joke or we're a fucking superhero. Like, which one is it? And the truth is neither. We're people. Treat us like people.
Yeah.
Not good or evil, just are.
Well, I'm sure there are some evil blind people.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't exclude that
Of course there are.
possibility.
I was just being overgeneralizing.
You know, another problem is, let's go back to, you know, the almost not hero worship really, but the aspect of blind people are heroes because they are blind. Let me tell you, for me, one of the things that really, those people watching are going to come to find that I get annoyed very easily by things. I think.
Well, these are things to get annoyed about.
It's like, one of the things that really bothers me also is when, and I'm sure at least one or two of you have dealt with this, but when a person comes up who is sighted and they're like, oh, you can do this and you can do this, and they're like, well, how do you do that? How are you able to know where I'm at? I'm like, it's called echo reverb. It's pretty simple. It's, you know, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Like, how often do you hear someone calling your name and you turn to look at them?
Yeah, it's like, I remember, you know, this was a few years back, I was helping cut down trees in a forest. And, one of the guys who didn't really know me too well, he was like, "How do you know where I'm at?" I'm like, "It's echo reverb, and there's a bunch of trees, so I'm able to bounce your voice off the trees and locate you because of that. It's not rocket science. You could do it too, but you rely on your eyes too much." So, and then, and it's not just that. He's like, "Wow, that's amazing. That's crazy." It's like, nah, not really. I mean, thanks, but not really. It's just, and the patting on the back. Stop that! Don't do that.
You stop with the patting on the back.
I hate it when strangers
Like,
Good
touch
for
my
you.
shoulders.
like, there you go, sport.
Ugh, that really digs in me.
I remember there was one time I had one Uber driver. Me and my fiance, I can't remember where we were going. I think it was to Walmart or something. Or no, we were leaving Walmart to go home with our groceries, and we both had our canes. And this guy was like, "Oh, that's such a beautiful baby. Is he both of y'all's?" And we said, "Yeah."
Obviously.
He's like, "Okay."
We didn't steal him.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Okay." And then you could tell that he was wanting to ask, is there anyone else there to take care of him? And we've been flat out asked that. Hey, do you have anyone sighted to take care of your son? And it's like, no. I mean, yes. My German Shepherd takes care of him. He
My
feeds
dog
him.
gives
He
him
bathes.
baths.
And I think this touches on both your point, Christian, and yours, Chris. I think the idea of losing vision to a sighted individual is just so
terrifying.
It's terrifying to me, and I'm half blind, so I would not want to go completely blind. I can't imagine anybody who would want to be blind. Obviously, if you're born totally blind, you don't know what sight is, so you can't really miss it. But for anybody who has it or has some at all, it's terrifying.
I don't know. I mean, if we're coming down to that topic, I would have to say if I lost my sight, yeah, that wouldn't be cool, really. But I'd rather lose my sight than my hearing.
Well, yeah, and that's because
if I lost my connection to the world of audiobooks and music and voice and oh god, I couldn't imagine it. Sight, it's
True.
like sure I can look at things and that's cool, but if I lost my sight, like, I mean, it's
that's your world, right? Everybody lives in the world that is created by our senses.
right.
Your vision is already bad.
Oh god, if
So-
I lost my taste,
Like, losing your hearing, which one of the senses you rely on most now, seems the most terrifying.
Yeah.
But to someone who is sighted, their sight is what they rely on the most for most people. So losing that, it's almost like a death of sorts to them.
And I know for me, I'm definitely terrified of losing my sight, which is a strong possibility because doctors really don't know what's going on with my vision or like what's causing it to deteriorate. And I know if I were
yourself.
to, what's that?
I said then you need to brace yourself and prepare for the possible.
And I mean, yeah, and I know if I were to lose my sight, right now, be stricken fully blind. I can't say blind because I'm part way there already, but I know I would need a huge learning curve and a lot of time to re-figure out how to do things. Even though I went through that training and got the work, that's a good starting point, what I have, but I am nowhere near competent or confident enough within those skills to say, hey, I can definitely do that without a doubt.
Yeah. Back to what I was saying earlier about like that sort of the idea of losing vision as a sort of death to sighted individuals. I think it's that fear that plays on their actions. Like, that fear of losing it and seeing someone who they see us as like, wow, that must be so hard. And it's not really on purpose. Like, it's not meant to be malicious.
Right.
So we shouldn't lash out at them and be mean to them. We just need to explain and maybe have some sort of education early on with children. Trying to teach them that just because someone does things differently or has to do things differently doesn't mean that it's like they're in some kind of miniature hell of their own or something. Like, it sucks. Yeah, I'll admit it. Not being able to see some things sucks.
Yeah, it'd be cool to drive.
Yeah. I hate having to.
I wish I could drive a motorcycle. That'd be great.
I have ridden a dirt bike before.
Yes, lots of fun. But
managed to crash it 5 times.
I wish I could drive a Harley.
Oh God, yes.
But I don't think it's as bad as they think it is.
It's not. It's really not. I mean, like, what can we not do? Drive? That's about it.
We could do it differently.
We could do everything else, like, pretty much. There's really nothing else we can't do.
IT work, video editing. Hey, look at our stuff. Writing articles.
Yeah, computers are a huge help. Their invention has really skyrocketed what blind people can and can't do. There's no reason that.
I'd hate to cut us off here, but we're like 5 or 6 minutes past our mark.
Probably more like 10.
We're close to that, actually.
I heard it. I just didn't say anything.
No, I didn't either. But
I can go for another 10 minutes, so we should stop now.
Yeah. I feel like we all could go another 20 minutes.
I definitely can. I've had more stories. I've just been allowing this topic to flourish.
Alright, well, hey! So that's that. Hey, if you guys watching have a comment, please write it down below. We really want to know what you guys think. This is a mixed party here, so, sighted, blind, we want all contributions. Tell us what you think. If you've been through some of these problems, write it out. Let us know what you've been through and the things that you don't like. Until then, we hope that these episodes are gonna prove to be helpful and a good connector between the sighted and blind community. And we're gonna keep doing them. We're gonna keep rolling out with these. So stay tuned for the next one. Until then, we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace out.